increasing techniques are vital for knitting if you want to create a shape that isn't just a rectangle. The first increase technique I'm going to show you is knitting in the front and back. That is abbreviated as KFB, knitting front back. As you can see in my book here, this is the increase that knitting in the front and back creates. It's a visible increase technique, and you get a bar, a subtle bar, where you increase in your knitting work. Now you might like this as a decorative effect, or you might not like it. If you don't like it, you can use the make one technique, which I'll be showing you later. But this one's quite common. So what you do is you knit as normal up to where you want to put the increase in. You don't normally increase on the very first stitch, you normally increase within the stitches in the middle of the work. But it doesn't really matter, just follow your knitting pattern. So what you do is you knit as normal, but when you get to this point, instead of pulling the stitch off the top of the needle, so instead of pulling that off, you swing that needle round to the back and you take that point down through the top stitch. So this is the knitting into the back section. You've done the knitting into the front, this is knitting into the back. So you knit into the back of that top stitch loop and then just knit as normal. And then pull that off like that. And you can see the 2 stitches you made there from 1 stitch. You've increased by 1 stitch. Just do one more normal knitting stitch. Now one more KFB, that's knitting in the front and back. So first you knit in the front of that stitch as you normally would, except you don't pull off the stitch, you don't pull it off the top of the needle. Instead you swing the needle round to the back, take the needle point down through the back of the top stitch. This is knitting in the back, and you just knit that as normal. Pull that off, and you've got 2 more stitches created from just 1. And there we go. That's knitting in the front and back, abbreviated as KFB. What you can also do with this technique is you can just start by knitting in the front, but don't pull that off the top. Instead, swing the needle round, go down to that stitch at the back, knit that, pull it round, but instead of then pulling the stitch off the top, you can carry on and knit in the front again. So you knit in the front, and this time you can pull that off. So now what you've got is you've got 3 stitches where you had 1 stitch before. So that is a double increase, and that is knitting in the front, the back, and then the front again. So that's KFBF.